in case we say something that's genius.
Okay.
Well, do you have any, I know, like you said, Selena is traveling today, and so I'm filling in for her. I'm Debbie Pelham, and I am good friends with Selena. I'm also with EXP Realty. I've been with EXP. Tomorrow will be 3 years. I'm in the Fresno area of California.
Right
Um,
on.
don't be jealous. Um,
Yeah.
so every now and then I'll fill in for Selena if she needs help with stuff. And that's why I'm here. I didn't really have a whole lot planned for today, but just wondering, did you have any questions about systematizing things or organizing things that maybe we can discuss one-on-one?
Well, I wasn't expecting to have a one-on-one conversation, but that's okay. Um, so I've been with EXP almost 2 years. Um, I have recruited one person. What do I got to do? Just tell me, how big of a team do you have?
Right now, I have 4 people in my organization. I have not focused on agent attraction.
Okay.
Um, my focus has been primarily on sales, and I'm also a certified mentor and I'm a transaction coordinator. So I juggle a few different hats.
I see.
And so my focus has been primarily on the sales end of things. As far as agent attraction, I believe within the hold on just a second. I can't think and do something at the same time. Within the Empire Builders Pro website, I believe there is, I'm going to share my screen. There
Sure.
is a section on the Empire Builders Pro website where you can go up here and select attraction and recruiting. And the drop down gives you many different ways to get started with agent attraction. There is kind of a, how do I say it? You want to come from an authentic place. You want to be sincere about your reaching out to people, and you want to share your experience too. But primarily, you want to see if it'll be a good fit for that other agent. Are we able to, at EXP, are we able to provide them the things that they need to better their business? That's going to
Yeah.
keep them here the longest, right? Um,
Right.
so having kind of a discovery conversation to figure out, just like you do with a client, a buyer or seller, what are their pain
Sure.
points, what are their needs, and see how EXP can fill that void for them or enhance that area of their business. So there's all kinds of terrific training on the Empire Builders Pro website that will get you started in that. And then also through Selena, she's very, very good at this stuff. So just staying in touch with there's a business builders, there's phone calls too.
Yeah.
Hold on. This is the homepage. Where are the phone calls? Live training schedule. So there's a live training schedule for building a real estate team, builders best practices, and then also sometimes in the free fighting coaching call doesn't necessarily address agent attraction specifically because it is agent agnostic. So it's not really going to dive into agent attraction, but sometimes with systems with Selena, you can get into some of that. But I would recommend attending both or one of these 2 calls. The builder's best practices might be a good one, and that is going to be a collaboration of leaders in the organization that can help with getting started with that. And then you've also got the tab on the website where you've got videos you can watch in the meantime.
Sweet. Okay. Yeah, I've been on some of those calls and I've watched some of those videos and stuff. So I'll have to I just need to get plugged back in and get, yeah, that's what I need to do. So
Yeah, one of the big things that helps me is I about 2 years ago I implemented my Google Calendar. I was a paper calendar person for a long time, and I implemented
Hmm.
my Google Calendar and color coding my appointments, and like training is one color, money making activities are another color, obviously green. And travel is another color, personal time is another color. And so you create your schedule to implement all of that in. And
Hmm.
I find that I get more done when I put it on my calendar,
Okay.
um, because it's like, okay, now I have a focus and I know exactly what I need to do for the day. I've got these appointments, and then I've set aside this time for prospecting. I've set aside this time for this training. And so it kind of gives you more focus, and you get to those goals quicker. At least that's what
Yeah.
I found. And Google Calendar seems to integrate with most softwares.
Okay. Right on.
Yeah. Um, we have Jen Sells, and I don't think that's Jason on there because Jason looks really different.
Can you hear me?
Hi, I can hardly hear you.
Oh, sorry. I know we have two Zoom meetings going on right now.
Oh,
I just I just wanted to say hi. This is my first meeting. I'm Jason's admin, Jill.
oh, nice to meet you, Jill. Okay. I don't have anything technically scheduled to talk about today, but one of the things that I did learn this morning that was really interesting to me. This week I've had conversations about what's holding people back in this market, right? What is it that people are struggling with? Because I'm struggling. And I just really was like, what am I not doing? What is it that I could improve upon that would provoke some business to start happening? And so um, obviously, follow-up calls are huge, but it's like the one thing we don't want to do, right? So I got some statistics this morning that were a little alarming, but also kind of encouraging, because it took the focus off it being a me problem and it being more of a timing thing. And it really speaks to people need to know, like, and trust you, right? So I was told this morning, I think these are NAR statistics, if I'm not mistaken. Um, Only 2% of people respond to your communications on the first communication. The second communication typically gets about 3% of the people to respond. The third communication only gets 5%. And that's either phone call, text, email, door hang, postcard, whatever. The fourth attempt at communicating may get a 10% return. And between your fifth and 12th attempt is where the communication happens. It's over 80% of the people that respond to it will respond between your fifth and 12th attempt to reach out to them. So we got to make at least, I mean, bare minimum 5 contacts to people and not give up. And so consistency has really been strong for me to keep top of mind with everything I'm doing right now. So consistency and following up, consistency in what I'm doing. And I'm going old school. I'm doing door hangers. I'm a little chicken to do door knocking, but I'm doing door hangers and I'm actually getting results. Like this week, I did my third of a series to the same farms, and I got like 4 responses. So I have a listing appointment on Tuesday. So that consistency, then that keeps me motivated to keep doing it, right? Yeah. That consistency is really important. So I just thought those stats were kind of interesting, and
Do you
it's
want me,
so, huh?
do you want me to jump in at all on that?
Sure.
So you're 100% right, but you have to mix it up into different forms.
Right.
If you possibly get the list of email addresses from your title company or from Cole Realty or from whatever, just to grab your farm and start emailing Interim Mall into HomeBot, do all the things that you have to do so that you're consistently touching people, then you will get more results. I don't know if anybody's actually looked at the people who are producing right now, but the people that are producing in my market at the highest level, the top producers, are the ones that have established farms. Now, that's disheartening when you say that to most agents, because, you know, some of us got divorced and we no longer have our farm, and some of us, the expense is too much, actually all of us right now. And results on a farm take at least 2 years before you actually start seeing it. That's why so many people give up on a farm. But yeah, so, and then the other people that are really killing it are the people who have established builders. So that, you know, they're selling most of the builder stuff and then getting the listings. So you have to find a way to beat it. And you're exactly right, Debbie, at the very beginning of your call, you have to do the things that other people are not willing to do. Because if you're doing what the other people aren't doing, you're going to win. It's to do what everybody's afraid of.
Well, and picking your, like, if you're going to do any form of farming, whether it be postcards, door hanging, door knocking, any kind of farming, obviously, like you said, Jen, touching them in different ways, whether it be text, email, if you can upload that farm list with all that information as a special ad audience on your Facebook ads, they're seeing you in all different ways. So then that know, like, and trust factor is coming a lot quicker because they see you everywhere. And so there was strategy in picking the 2 farms that I'm going to. One was the size of the farm. I wanted something that I knew I could do consistently. Number 1, physically that I could do it. Number 2, financially that I could do it, because I'm working on a very, very low budget. Free. So I wanted to make sure I could do it consistently. And then I set up a minimum of 8 communications, like, and I'm doing flyers on door hangers. I created 8 communications that I could do over the next couple of months, and I'm doing them every other week to each farm. I set up communications to do for the next 8 weeks. And then I picked my farms, like I said, that I could do financially, that I could do physically, that weren't going to take too long for me to do in a day. And then I also reviewed their turnover ratio. One of my farms has a 13.97% turnover ratio. They're newer. They were built in 2021. I had a listing in that area. And then, so they're a farm that I'm familiar with because I was farming them when I had that listing a year and a half ago. And so turnover ratio, where I've already been, and where I could say, yeah, I sold the house over on Ramona or whatever, so that when I did speak to somebody, they knew I was in the neighborhood and I wasn't just out there all of a sudden. So they had some familiarity with me. And yesterday I got a phone call from my door hanger that I hung in the morning. And it was a lady that I talked to at an open house when I had that listing. And she said, I don't know if you remember me. And I said, oh yeah, you were going to move to LA to be closer to your son. And you were going to do this, this, and this. And she's like, are you looking at a computer with notes? And I said, no, I remember talking to you. You lived across the street. This is your address, blah, 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 blah. And she was so impressed. So,
Debbie, not trying to take over your call or anything, but if you have a 13.9% turnover in a community that was built in 2021, what happened? Did they get their tax bills or did they get their insurance quotes? Because, you know, like, sometimes when you go to a new builder, they give you the insurance from the builder, or the taxes are estimated at XYZ. But now 2 years later, because in Colorado, we're assessed every 2 years. 2 years later, you get the new assessment and your payment. Like, what's happening for a lot of people around here in Colorado is the payments are going up $600 to $800 a month, which is more than a car payment. So if that's happening, that's a great marketing piece to say, you know, some in a nicer way than I'm about to say it. Don't say it like this, right? Are your bill, is your house payment too high now or something? You know what I mean? So
yeah. And when they purchased, I believe they were in the low 400s or the mid 400s, and now they're probably the upward 500s. So that assessment could have drastically changed their taxes, like you said. Yeah. The other neighborhood is a more established neighborhood, but I've gotten 3 phone calls off of that too. And that could be because they're about 25 years old and maybe they want something more updated, or their lifestyle has changed, whether they want to downsize, upsize, relocate. Most of them are 1 story, so I don't think it's like a stairs issue if you're up in age like me in your 50s. So I'm getting good feedback. And that's the other farm that's a little bit older. That one has a 6.37 turnover ratio. So, and I think it's because there's so many different things that could be going on there because of the age of the home. So,
And if anybody wants me to ever talk them through, if your turnover rate is 13% or, 5%, and you were to establish 10% of that community, if you ever want me to help you with those numbers, they can always reach out to me.
Okay.
So what you would expect to actually list, right? So.
Jill, your name's Jill, right?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have any questions?
No, not really. I'm going to jump on every first Friday of the month with you. I'm just trying to, I've been here since September with Jason. Before I was actually a mortgage loan officer with Loan Depot. So I have a little bit of background in that, in marketing and whatnot. So I identify with what you girls are talking about. On this side with being an admin for a real estate group, I am really trying to help us get organized so we stop missing leads. We have a ton of leads coming through Zillow, Court Facts, I think it was called. Just so many from every direction. So we're trying to we put some on auto emails and through Fub, and we're purchasing some new software to try and send out some auto marketing. And that's just kind of where I'm joining to hear what other people are doing and what other people are working on and how you guys stay organized, what's working best for you, I guess. So just here to kind of observe. I don't have much to input yet.
Okay, no problem.
So first of all, we're real estate brokers. So not organized. We're HR violation. We have ADHD. And yeah, that just needs to be said up front. Maybe not Debbie, but the rest of us. Anyhow, leads. So when I get just a crap ton of leads coming through, first of all, they go out, I'm sure that you guys are already handling this part. First of all, they go out to all the members of the team and they have to be called within 30 seconds. Okay. After that, if they're cold, and then that team member is supposed to follow up in a certain manner, call, don't leave a voicemail, call, don't leave a voicemail, text, right? And if once that's pulled, right, they're not getting anything, then they instantaneously, we use KV Core. I'm about to switch to Go High Level. Go High Level is a much better CRM, but that's between you and I and the fence post, any hoodles. So then it would start in with a text campaign. And if it was a seller, they would get a HomeBot report. Instantaneously, they go into HomeBot. An admin that night goes into, and I think Debbie put in a chat, put in a standard operating. So they get a text, then they get a HomeBot, then they get another text, then they get an email. And the email has all the things that are possible. So I don't know what your leads are. And I don't know if they're sellers or buyers, but let's say they're sellers. I get a lot of sellers that are I want cash offers, or I just want my value, or whatever. So I have buy before you sell, cash offers, traditional sale, and something else. And it goes into an email that's standards already done. And then that's in a template and it goes out. So I just have and I put them on a drip for 2 years. Because I'm telling you, all of your old leads right now that are 2 years old are the hottest leads you have. If you don't get them in the first 30 seconds, the first day, they're not as hot as your 2-year-old leads.
I have
which
a
is
bunch of leads that are 2 years old that I got from street text that I'm going to start following up on, because a lot of times they do take a long time to actually come to fruition. And I've sent them some email communications. I reached out to them when I first got them, but I kind of fell off in my follow-up. So now I'm going to reapproach them. And I was talking to somebody earlier today about how am I going to do, she goes, how are you going to do that? Like, what are you going to say? She goes, I want you to prepare for this. What are you going to say? And I said, well, one thing I heard one time was somebody said, I probably dropped the ball. I didn't follow up with you. And I wanted to make sure that, see if you were if you'd already found, your other home. I didn't say that as eloquently as I would say it on a phone call, but she goes, well, try this. And I said, okay. And she goes, instead of saying I dropped the ball. And I said, well, part of the reason I was going to say that is because I wanted to acknowledge that that was my fault for not following up. And I'm into honesty and transparency. Jennifer doesn't agree with it, but that's how I am. My personality is very different than hers. So honesty and transparency is my gig. That's just me. But she said, try it this way instead. You may not remember, but a while back, you inquired about information regarding whatever your ad was about. So I was like, okay, I may have to transition it to that. And
Which
maybe
is what-
somehow in the remaining of the conversation, it may come up that, my bad, I dropped the ball. But so I'm going to transition that verbiage to, you may not remember, but this is what you did. And so now I'm following up to see if you ever did downsize. Did you ever, find that lakefront property or whatever it is they were responding to in the ad, specifically to the ad?
That's great.
Saying don't be honest, but I believe it was me that told you that. You always say, hey, I spoke to you last October, or hey, I spoke to you last November. You were thinking about selling in the spring, and I'm just following up. So I'm be quiet.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Well, these were like a year and a half to 2 years ago that I received the leads, and I probably haven't spoken to them in probably a year and a half, if it was 2 years or a year and a half.
They don't remember.
I know. I don't like putting like in November of last year. I just say a while back. I don't want to put a time frame on it. In that way, I'll be a little vague.
That's great. Okay, well, thank you. That's
Yeah.
really good.
Do you have more? Are you talking about leads that you're getting right now?
No, I'm going back through. So
Okay.
I came in September, but before that, there are a ton of leads that are stale and outdated, still just sitting in our CRM. So I'm going back through and trying to find opportunities that I didn't even think of like that far back. So like you said, our main focus was as the free fit, but that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Because a lot of times, I mean, it can take a year to 2 years for somebody to actually move on their instinct.
True. Yeah. And then it's almost like a kind gesture, or they feel like, oh, you're still thinking of me. Wow, you kept track of me. So I can see how if you position it like that, like, we were just talking about you the other day and we ever wondered what ever came of your house hunting, or yeah.
Yeah. And if you know what kind of ad it was that they responded to, if it was like a downsizing ad or what's my home worth ad or whatever, I mean, you can obviously check and see if they sold their home, if the name is no longer the same. So I would do that first before calling. Then that way it doesn't seem like you don't, I don't know. I get the impression like I want to make sure I know, oh, they did sell their home. It was 6 months ago. Okay, you know what? They're probably fine, So focus on the ones that maybe haven't sold their home first.
Yeah.
And then the ones that have, you can do it more like, how's it going? I see you sold your home last June. Are you loving where you live in now?
Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah. Jen said, pull the MLS and public records first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I'll see you next month, and I'll have a little bit more ideas of what I'm going to ask you.
No problem. And Selena usually runs this call. She's just traveling to go to an event in Cabo San Lucas.
Oh, how nice. Okay.
Yeah. So she's jealous that she's not here in Fresno with me.
Yeah, I bet, right?
It's raining and cold.
Yeah, we're in Santa Maria.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, enjoy your day.
All right. You too.
See ya. Bye.
Bye-bye. Jen, I'm going to pause the recording. Oh, she logged off. Well, I guess that's it. So I'm going to log off. This was a short call. I'm glad people showed up. I hope you had a good time in Cabo. Talk to you soon.